What's good, everybody? RJ Sheldon here off the Top Show. You already know what episode this is. BD Boys here. Got my boy James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. Go ahead and follow this brother
Yes,
man on
sir.
Twitter as what I said is his first name and last name. How we doing, man?
It's another day. Man, I think it's going to get up into I think the forecast said about 40, 43 over here. I'm like, pull out the grill, put some shorts on, maybe.
Man.
There's still snow on the ground, so, I don't know if the course is going to be open or anything, but, we got to take what we can get right now. So it's a lovely day out today. Sun is shining. It is a great day.
And absolutely, like I had hinted earlier before we started here, my man's got the Michigan State shirt on. The man knows it. We know we had a big win
It was
yesterday
on the
against
top.
Michigan basketballs.
It was on the top of my clothing. I mean,
Man,
it just worked out. I opened it. I'm like, well, we're wearing that today. Just
yeah.
pulled it out. So I'm like, he's gonna like it. I didn't go digging or anything. This is just like, grab you. I'll see it. This just worked out. Like the universe was like, you're talking and recording with RJ today. Here's your Michigan State shirt. Thank you, universe. I appreciate you.
No, absolutely. But let's hop into this, man. Obviously, here, if you're first tuning in here, we talk about our Wisconsin sports teams. That is the Green Bay Packers, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's go ahead and talk about this Packers series. Obviously, we had an unreal season, but we're going to go ahead and just dive in more into this offseason and how important it is to go ahead and get a defensive coordinator to a stature of what we need to go ahead and get over that hump. Obviously, we had lost the 49ers, but our defense has been shaky all season. We've had Joe Barry for a long time. We know what he's done. Obviously, if you haven't went ahead and noticed already, he's gone. Talk to me about this, Jimmy, here, because obviously, I bring you on here for the insider for the Packers and kind of what you're thinking. There's a lot of guys out right now, especially in this head coaching, D coordinator, a lot of opportunity for these guys. I think this might be the most opportunity we've ever seen, really, in the NFL when it comes to making these coaches. So talk to me about who you think could be the potential guy, where you're thinking about this for the Packers.
So I find this really, really weird because we are seeing so many head coaching positions fill up before the Super Bowl. Like first of all, let's just talk like how mind-boggling that is because like the Chargers going to get Jim Harbaugh doesn't surprise me. The college season is over.
Right.
College coaches are off limits. Once their season's done, go for it. But we're seeing like coordinators get jobs. We're seeing like even I think the 49ers head coach or defensive coordinator just got a job. He's the head coach at Atlanta, but he's still got a Super Bowl to plan for. So it is very, very like this process is moving really quick for head coaching, which helps a lot for Green Bay, in my opinion, because as I said in the last time I was on here, a lot of those top candidates that you want might be interviewing for head coaching jobs. Well, I think there's only one head coaching job left, and that is Seattle. Like everybody else is taken up. Like everybody else is already taken up. So, and what's shocking to me is Mike Vrabel, I don't think is in line for that head coaching job. So that means Mike Vrabel might be sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I bring up Vrabel. I'll get to him. I'll get there. So right now, Green Bay has interviewed about 4 or 5 people. One of them is out already because he got upgraded to defensive coordinator on his own team. So he out. He bye. The other one is, I don't remember his name, but he's the defensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys, which is, I think he's going to be a little bit at the bottom of my list because he's a 4-3 guy. Green Bay runs 3-4. Right. So I think he's going to be at the bottom of my list. Well, coming in at number 3 for me is Brandon Staley. As we all know, Brandon Staley, head coach of the Chargers, really, really underachieved at the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh being on with that offense, I think that offense is going to be a lot more disciplined, a lot more scary with Justin Herbert. And then their defense was not good at all. They were 29th in the league. But then, so immediately I was like, why are we doing this to ourselves? We're just going to replace Joe Barry with another Joe Barry. Like one bad defensive guy to another bad defensive guy. But he was on the Rams staff in 2020, and he had number one offense or number one scoring defense, number one run defense. Like you look from top to bottom, that okay, maybe he's a coordinator guy. You realize some guys can only be coordinators and not head coaches because then they can focus on just coordinating a side of a ball, a team's, doing that. It works out well. They can't be head coaches. So that might be the thing for Brandon Staley. But if you look at that 2020 Rams team, look who they got.
Right.
They got Aaron Donald, probably the best defensive lineman to ever play this game. Jalen Ramsey, which you say is the best person to ever defend pass in the league to ever play. And I agree that he's probably a top 5 corner to ever play the game. You look at, he had Leonard Floyd, another great pass rusher. I mean, he's not all-time wise, he's not even in that conversation, but he was a really good edge rusher. They had dudes all around that defense. So, okay, you take it with a grain of salt. So that one, I'm like, okay, and he blitzes a lot. Last year's Chargers team was 8th in the league in blitz percentage, blitzing around 33 to 35% of the time. So it's a Joe Barry style defense. He's a Vic Fangio disciple, just like Joe Barry. So maybe Matt LaFleur's looking at this. We can tweak this defense without them having to relearn a new defense and just hit the ground running with some tweaks, with a different perspective. Sometimes the change of landscape's good. So I would be a little shocked if it was Brandon Staley. That's not my pick, but from all the points I said, it wouldn't be so bad. My number 2 guy is the D-backs coach of the Ravens.
Like him a ton.
Now,
we need him on for sure. I like him a ton.
Everywhere he's gone, he's had success.
Right.
So he's another one of those guys that's just gone around. But the Ravens don't blitz a lot. Now, he's not the coordinator. He's just the D-backs coach. So, he's gone to places where success. And I don't think he's had a coordinator job. So that should be a little scary because it's a guy who's never done it. You don't know. It's the part of the unknown that could be a scary job, but you look at his track record with success on being on defenses and considering that the secondary for the Packers has Jair Alexander, possibly. I don't know where they're going with that, but I think they'll keep him. Had some really breakout guys in Valentine. And then you just have your safety position. That's the question mark right now. You got a decent D-line, and you got what I think is a really good star in Quay Walker. I think he's just been misguided in this defense. I think he has so much potential. And then you find Isaiah McDuffie. I think Devondre Campbell. I would like him. Over there. Put him outside. Put a free sign on him.
Your time is done as a Packer, brother. I appreciate you, but it's time to go.
You're not doing it for me. I think Isaiah McDuffie brings a lot more to the table. But that's my number 2 guy. And number 1 on that same staff, Zach Orr. Zach Orr is the linebackers coach for the Ravens. He just stopped playing in 2016 because of medical reasons, so he kind of got forced out in the NFL. But he's a young guy. He's a fiery dude. And when he was in the league, he was 16th compared to linebackers. He ranked 16th in run defense and run blitzes. He was the guy that was bringing the heat when you were trying to stop the run. So you bring that guy with some fire to him, young, and he is bringing out really good things out of Patrick Queen, and I forgot his counterpart's name. And that's what you kind of look for, is a guy that can bring the best out of these young linebackers that have a lot of potential. That one is my number 1 because, he's a young, fiery guy, and this is a young, fiery defense. I think if you put those 2 and 2 together, I think they'll coexist together. He's not like ancient old. He had to retire, unfortunately, in 2016. So he's kind of like that veteran leader guy that would be playing, but he's not. He's coaching you, and I think that's Green Bay would respond to that. really, really well. That's my number one guy. Unless Mike Vrabel, I said I'd backtrack to him, doesn't get any job. If he gets no head coaching position in Seattle, I think Matt LaFleur is going to be calling him up, asking for an interview. We haven't heard anything from Jim Leonard, which me and you have said I think that'd be really good too. He's another young, fiery guy, but he just doesn't have NFL experience, so that'd be a big gamble as well. But if Mike Vrabel doesn't get a job, he's going to get calls from all over the place, and he's going to be wanting. And Bill Belichick is out there too, but he ain't going to be taking a D coordinator job. He might just say, "Hey, I'm going to go live on a beach for the rest of my life. Thanks, guys."
No, absolutely.
So that's my top three with a fourth in there if Vrabel doesn't get Seattle's job, which I'm kind of shocked he wouldn't, because I feel like he has the same mindset as a Pete Carroll, just he's a little younger. He's a player's coach, so that'd be a shock. It's kind of shocking to me, but that's my three. And I think Zach Orr would be a great hire because I think he'd mesh with those young players, because this is still a very, very young team, and it's only getting younger.
Yeah, no, and I liked how you hit it on those three. And all these teams and all these guys individually have lead teams to at least being top 15 total defense this year. So the Packers were underneath that. Anything to move us forward and to go ahead and getting us a better defense, I'm all for it. Because as you saw in these AFC and NFC games, defense is extremely key. But we'll talk about that after we get done talking about, we had a little discussion, talk about kind of really what was our highlight of this Packer season. I literally was sitting here thinking like, man, what game for me was like, all right, this is kind of like the one that I'll always remember. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
It was tough for me. This was tough for me because we had so many highs and then we had so many lows. But I mean, my honorable mentions were Week 1 Bears. Week 1 Bears was so fun because what do we hear? It's the first game, Aaron Rodgers, the Bears have all this offensive firepower, and I just watched this game and looked at Twitter and watched Chicago Bear Twitter absolutely light up their own team, and I was just sitting there like, nice. This is great. I love this. The other ones were the Kansas City Chiefs game was phenomenal. Not only because they're a Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl team. You could say that now. We beat a Super Bowl team. We beat the defending champs, and now they're back in it again for the second straight year. So you can look at that and say that was an amazing win. The week of Thanksgiving was fun. I had such great turkey that day because that turkey just tastes better with that dove sitting on top of it.
Absolutely.
And then another kind of rivalry game, the New Year's Eve game against Minnesota. I loved sitting there going, man, Minnesota. I love beating Minnesota. So that was a great game. And then I was at the last week of the season. That wasn't very high scoring. Your boy got all of a sudden walked into the bathroom. Some guy's handing around a Jack Daniels bottle. Your boy's walking to the stadium like, wow, this is whoa. So, get a little buzz on, and after the game, you party up a little bit. But come on, man. And going to Dallas, playoffs in Dallas, we're not supposed to be there, and we just went here and there and here and there and just put them over our leg and took our belt off and beat them like a rented mule in front of their own fans. That was by far the best. That was their best game of the season, period. You want to talk about, I understand garbage time and everything like that, but that game was 48-16. Done deal. I don't even care what happened after that. You can give them 16 points. You could have gave them 24. I don't care. The game was over at that point, and we weren't supposed to be there, and we just whooped up on a team that everyone was talking about. Is this the year they're going to go to the Super Bowl? Nah. And then, unfortunately, the next week you went into the team that's also going to the Super Bowl, and you damn near won it. and I don't want to talk about it. I'm still a little bit sad about it. We're not even gonna go there. I've kind of gotten over it, but yeah, I mean, in Dallas, bro. I called you at halftime, and I was just like,
I know. That's my
what's
one.
going
That's my
on here?
favorite one. That's my favorite one by
Yeah,
far. I mean, you basically hint on everything that I was gonna say, basically. But no, that Packers Dallas, especially going there and the way we came out, everything was by far probably honest to God, probably one of the best. And this is pushing it. This top 5 best Packer game I've ever watched in my lifetime. Coming up, not really knowing that, oh, we're just here, we're just, we're glad to be here. That's basically what it was when we were looking at this, right? And then we go in there and absolutely dog walk them.
I
Dog
mean,
walk.
it was reminiscent of the 2011 game in Atlanta.
Yes.
6 seed going to a 1 seed. Atlanta lit.
Yeah.
I think Matt Ryan won MVP maybe that year. Lit the league on fire, and they just did not quite exactly what Green Bay did to Dallas, but man, halftime you were just like, what is this? And then Aaron Rodgers just went on that absolute Aaron Rodgers tear. But
Right.
man, it's Dallas, and I think if you put a poll out on Twitter, I think everybody's going to be voting Dallas. So
No,
Dallas
absolutely.
game for sure.
But no, that's the sum up, obviously, of the 2023-2024 Packers season. We got a lot of highs coming out of this season. Just the overall for me, I think this team is young. They go ahead and bring that lunch bucket pail and they go to work. And you can tell,
They're
obviously, by
hungry.
the head man and Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur is getting, comfortable. I'm excited for next season, but I'm excited for this 5 years that we got or 3 years that we got for these guys to go ahead and be together.
Mm-hmm.
We're only going to get better. We're only going to go ahead and get in the draft. Last year we drafted incredible. This year I'm expecting the same thing. Obviously, we're going to give the insider as well on that on here when that time be. But
Let me touch on the draft just a little bit.
yeah,
We're not getting into like who they're going to pick. I'm not getting into that. Packers Twitter, like you and I both know, Packers Twitter when it comes to draft time, people think they know who Green Bay is going to pick, but we don't. We have no clue.
no
Like
clue.
the thing, and I think a lot of Packer fans will tell you, we all have the people we want to pick. Now we haven't even come close to diving into the draft because we haven't even hit combine time yet. We know what they
Right.
need, but the draft is different because players fall. Like we saw it with Aaron Rodgers. Players fall in the draft. You never know where you're going to be, who is going to fall, And just when you think, oh yeah, we're going to get that guy, they're like, nope,
Right.
we're going to go completely opposite direction. So the draft, it's hard to analyze the draft with Green Bay because they go to the beat of their own drum. And last year they went to the beat of their own drum and they hit some home runs. So,
Absolutely.
and people are going to flip out, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done that. Usually Green Bay drafts projects that take about a year or two to get going.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the first years in a long time where they had a lot of guys hit their feet on the ground and just went, we're not a project. We're here. Like it's working now. So, you only hope just to hit some more of those guys. So we'll get into that later. We'll let the combine ride out. We'll let the draft analysts do what they do, So I'm just saying, if you think someone's going to get picked, they know, like, this draft thing is just dumb. Like, it's not even, like, you and I could talk till we're blue in the face. We don't know what's going on in those rooms, and we have no idea what they have planned for at all. So that's why I like the draft. Draft is fun. Draft's a fun time. It's so unexpected. So
no, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll be on the insider for that for you guys when it comes, obviously, Packers and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about, obviously, the teams that are still playing. Obviously, we talk about them briefly, but it was great football to watch and sickening at the same time. AFC Championship game. Kansas City Chiefs were the Baltimore Ravens. I wanted the Ravens to win. Clearly, they didn't.
Yep.
Never bet against Patrick Mahomes. Honest to God, Patrick Mahomes, in my eyes, is the best quarterback in the NFL, and is going to be for
No
a
doubt.
long time. He played unreal. Travis Kelce doing what he did. 10 catches for over 100 yards, breaking Jerry Rice's record. If you break Jerry Rice's record, you are a problem.
If you in a conversation with Jerry Rice, hell yeah, you a problem.
You're an absolute dog. And then on top of that, their defense is playing unreal. Their defense is not being talked about as they should, to be honest.
This is their best defense they've ever had under Pat Mahomes.
Yes.
Like, they've had some leaky defenses that have kind of like found their ground.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is carrying them. Like, this is the first year where Mahomes doesn't have the pressure to go out and score 35, 42 points a game. Like, we have our defense now where they've scored 17 points and won a game. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. And I was sick for Lamar too, bro. Not to cut you, but finish what you're doing.
What were they doing, bro? Like, what were they doing?
The moment was way too big for them. I don't know what was going on. The moment was way too big for them, and it really made me irritated. Like, why did you not take the same recipe that you played against the Texans at home and do the same thing? Run the ball. They didn't run the ball. They had four rushing yards in the second half. It's like, come on, man.
Oh my God, bro.
Like, how does that happen?
That is coaching malpractice. You gone. Bye-bye. Done.
Hello.
I don't even, They were the 5th ranked offense from the, I think, week 12. Week 12, week 18, they were the 5th ranked offense in the NFL. That means they got hot at the exactly right time. They dog walked the well, I shouldn't say they dog walked the Texans. I expected the Texans to hang around a little bit because, but I just felt like Baltimore was just going to eventually be too much for them, which is what happened. But they didn't do anything that they did from week 12 on that gave them success. Right. They thought they were going to throw the ball around the yard when you have when you have Lamar Jackson, one of the more highly profile, actually the best running quarterback since probably Michael Vick. Like, I don't think there's anybody else that's been there since Mike Vick that has been as electric as a runner at the quarterback position as Lamar Jackson has. They gave him 2 design runs in a game. Terrible. And then they handed the ball off 6 other times. Terrible. Like, what are you doing? You running the football is what got you there. Kansas City's defense loves to defend the pass. Like that, their offense or their defense is built to stop the pass. Right. So if you have a team that likes to stop the pass, line up, put the big boys in. They ran 11 personnel way too much. They should have ran 2 tight end sets all game and run the ball. Like I was sitting there like, this isn't that hard. Like, is it? Like, I was like, am I just not seeing something? Like, my eyes deceiving me? Like, but it was just, I was just like, well, run the ball. Like, run it. Like, it hurts. It hurts.
So
it makes my head hurt.
I mean, it was so irritating that their own quarterback had to throw the ball, and Lamar, he catches it and runs it for a first down. That was an actually sweet play. I'm not going to lie. I was funny when me and Tristan were talking. He was running, just went, poof, and then he ran, and it just landed in his hands. Like, it was crazy, but that game was irritating as hell. Like, I wanted the Ravens to win so bad. They were set up for success, and they shit the bed.
And I'm telling you what, I'm getting sick of this Kansas City cheap bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is going down as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And not only that, the best postseason quarterback. He is the literal definition. Get me in the playoffs, get on my back, and I'll take you to the promised land. Like, it is becoming that. That's not the annoying part. He's becoming like, the NFL is starting to treat him like Tom Brady. Ticky-tack, random phantom calls. It's getting annoying. I mean, obviously, the NFL wants Taylor Swift at the damn Super Bowl. Not that I'm sick of the Taylor Swift garbage. Why is
everyone hating on Taylor Swift, bro?
I'm not hating on Taylor Swift. Like, I like Taylor Swift. Like, her music, like, we banged to her music before. Like, God, man, Taylor like Swift's she has bangers. But it's the damn Super Bowl. If you really want Taylor Swift there, go give her a ticket. It doesn't matter if her boyfriend's not playing it. I mean, it might,
Right.
but it's the
Right.
damn Super Bowl. Stars show out to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Right.
Usher's the damn halftime show this year. You don't think people and celebrities are gonna go and watch Usher? I'm excited for that halftime show, by the way.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was excited for Rihanna last year, and Rihanna.
I was
mean,
excited.
she did what she could, and she did really well. I enjoyed her. Like, I love Rihanna as an artist too. But like, they gave him the head ref. I don't know if you saw this. They gave him a head ref that calls the most home penalties. Now, this game was pretty clean. Like, I didn't think there was anything that was sketchy involved with it. But they gave a head ref that calls the most penalties in the league on the home team and calls the least amount on the away team. I was like, that sounds like there's a fix in. But I mean, I think the Ravens shot themselves in the foot to the point where the NFL was like, well, we were going to try to rig this game, but I guess the Ravens are just going to let do it for us. Man. So, just questionable coaching, offensive game plan on the Ravens, and the Chiefs just did what the Chiefs do. They win in the playoffs. This is what they do.
Right. No, absolutely. That was sickening to watch, but obviously Kansas City Chiefs are heading to the Super Bowl yet again.
Yeah.
They are facing the 49ers. Obviously, that game was gut-wrenching to me.
Oh, my God,
Detroit Lions
bro.
versus the 49ers. Obviously, we all know the Lions lost that one 31-34. Holy shit, dude. Any type of a perfect first half that you can have and still being able to go ahead and win the game still in the second half, even though it's, game momentum back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Came down to it, bro. Lions just did not go ahead and make the plays that were needed to be made. I don't care if it was the 4th and 3 and you go ahead and you go for it or you take your points. Maybe at that you should have took it. But I understand where the whole philosophy is that you're going ahead and be dominant. I like that. I totally get that. But what killed you is guys not making plays. That was the absolute killer. That went ahead and took everything out your sails when you're and things like that. It was horrible to watch if you're a Lions fan. I'm like, they're about to blow them out. They're about to win like at least 40-something to 21 or something like that. I'm like,
we were about to have an opening day rematch.
What am I watching? What am I watching? So talk to me about this, man.
Well, you said it. Costly drops. So many drops. Like it was painful. Like if you catch half of the drops you have, you probably win the game. I understand. Like, and here's the other thing. I understand Dan Campbell is aggressive. Like, very aggressive. Like he's very. I don't know if he's just a big analytics guy, but he does a lot of the things analytically. You would say go for it. Like that 4th and 3, analytics may say go for it, and but he wants to. Like he wants you to force you to make plays. Like he presses the issue.
Right.
I'm gonna say that 4th and 3. When you have guys not making plays and you scored not many points, like you went from dominant offense to dormant offense.
Right.
I'm sorry, you take the points. Because
you do take the points in that situation. You're right.
You have to. Like, in all things considered, you have to look at the big picture. My offense isn't humming. Our defense and San Francisco's getting a lot of good momentum. This field goal presses the issue to the 49ers that they have to go down the field and then make a kick. Right. And what happens if they do? Okay, great. Now we're on to overtime. We have a chance to win the toss and then go be aggressive. Then go 4th and 3, then go do that because the touchdown wins it. You didn't need a touchdown there. I understand you wanted it because then you milk more clock. You possibly even run the clock out, and then you can kick the field goal and win it.
Right.
You got to take the points there. Like I thought that was, again, I question a lot of things that Dan Campbell does, like Thanksgiving they were down 20, 14 points on their own 30, and they run a fake punt. What? Like, no, that's dumb. Like, it was 4th and 5. Dallas Cowboys, 2-point conversion going for it. I had no problem with it. They got screwed. I will say that. That was bullshit on the referee's part. Call the ineligible man downfield. Or he didn't report eligible. Okay, fine. That sucks. You screwed it up. The referees screwed it up, not you. Let's just take our one. Let's tie this game up. Let's go to OT. He went for it on 4th and 7. Or he went for the 2-point conversion on the 7-yard line. I'm like, this is reckless. I'm like, this is absolute. Then they got away with it with a defensive holding or a defensive offside. And then they did it again. At that point, I was just like, I don't know. Like, I'm ripping my hair out. I'm like, this is insane. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, no team could do anything better. So I understand he's very aggressive, but it becomes borderline reckless. And this was a very reckless decision. You have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Points are at a premium. You take the points. Like, I do not care. If you were tied, like when we talk about the 2018 game, Buccaneers Packers, the NFC Championship game, they had 4th and 8 or 4th and goal from their own 8-yard line, and they kick a field goal down 7. That's different. You go for it. Analytically, they said no. Doesn't matter. We could talk about it all day, but that you go for it. Like if Dan Campbell was in that situation, obviously went for it. You need a touchdown to tie. He had the tie in the bag. He could have kicked the field goal, and unless you give up a touchdown, nothing. You're at least going to overtime. You could potentially win it. Right. So I thought that was the wrong decision. It was flat out wrong. Like absolutely wrong. When you have chance at points, you take the points. I understand you want to go for wins, and that's your MO, and he stuck to his MO. He's consistent, not with a chance of the Super Bowl on the line. Literally minutes from the Super Bowl. You take your points and you live to fight for either overtime or you just, if they score a touchdown, then you go, you know what? I thought points were fine there, and I trusted our defense to at least hold them to a field goal, whatever. But that was very, very reckless, and I was kind of upset. I was screaming at the TV. I was like, wow, this is the wrong decision. Take the lead. Like, if the lead is there for you, take it.
Right.
Oh, man. I thought it was the wrong call. I mean, don't get me wrong. You are right. Guys didn't make plays. But you could have had a chance to just kick the field goal and leave it in your defense's hands. And they didn't do that. And momentum kills in this game. Like, you've played the game of football at a very high level. What momentum does to a team is crazy. And 49ers had the momentum. That field goal wouldn't have taken the wind out of their sails, but that would have, again, press the issue. Okay, now we need to be good. Like, we need to score here. So, but man, I was like, damn, that
pissed me off, man. It was like, man, like, how do you, like, especially NFC North, it's so good for the division, and on top of that, like, it's just showing that it's even a stronger, better division than any division that's in the NFL right now, and you go ahead and not capitalize, and it pissed me off that that had happened. But hey, next year it is what it is. But obviously, we all know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs and the 49ers. We're going to talk about that later when it happens. But let's move on over, obviously, to our Milwaukee Bucks here. They did play last night, I think. Yes, they did. Doc Rivers is now at the helm. We got him. First game coming back. They went ahead and faced, obviously, the Nuggets.
NBA champs in their home building.
Yep. Giannis, 29 points, 12 rebounds. Chris Middleton, 14 points. Brook Lopez, 19. Damian Lillard, 18. I liked, even though we lost, we did play somewhat of some solid defense down the stretch. Not saying complete solid defense, but it was better than what I've usually have seen from the Bucks before we got Doc. I'm not saying that I'm not saying
No,
that this is
hey, no.
right away, but it's clear as day shown
Hmm.
since it's been there. Like, listen, you better give effort on this defensive end if we want to be anything. And I saw that when it came in certain spurts. Obviously, this is in the beginning of this.
Hmm.
I mean, the middle of the season. Guys are still going ahead and getting to where it actually matters after the All-Star
Hmm.
game. But I liked what I saw against the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
It's still
Yep.
scary that we don't have a guy that can guard a guard, to be honest. Um, it puts a lot of pressure on our bigs. Like just seeing Brook Lopez go out there and guard Jamal Murray is like that's an easy bucket. Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
but I'm not worried about him. I think right now with what we got going and where we're moving, I like what we're doing. But I mean, we're gonna have to shoot the blood out the ball. We shot the blood out the ball and we still lost. So it's like, oh man, what are
I
we gonna
mean,
do?
if you look at it, I'm really again. I'm really happy we held Denver to 113. I mean, you look at Jokic for MVP, final. I think he was Finals MVP too, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. Probably Finals MVP. He's
Right.
gonna get his. Like he's that guy. He's gonna get his 25. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna get his rebounds. He's gonna get his. He's gonna get his. This was a case that, and I've seen Milwaukee play Denver in person in the past, and they had a problem with the high pick and roll with Jamal Murray and Jokic, and Jamal Murray went off for 35. That was the difference maker. I mean, Giannis got his. Brook Lopez had a really good offensive game. Um,
Right.
Chris Middleton, I think now that he's gone down the food chain as in a scorer. I mean, he's no longer in the big three; it's a big four. He's probably a. Usually, I would like to see Lopez get the 14 and Middleton get the 19, but whatever, it is what it is. He's more of a shooter now. Middleton instead of your kind of go-to guy, but it's really nice to still have him because I mean, so many people are focused on Dame. Dame Lillard only 18 points. I mean, you're hoping for a guy like Dame to get 25.
Right.
And so I'm gonna say I'm gonna chalk this up to what I started with at the beginning of the season. It's a new coach. Doc had to have gone to the guys and say, okay, what is the problem? Like what do
Right.
you guys see that is the problem? So they have some stuff to figure out. Again, great defensive game. You held Denver to 113. I think that's good enough to win. You didn't score enough. You didn't score enough offensively off the bench. Their bench is very weak. I think your starters, except for Dame, maybe, but I mean, he wasn't far off, did enough to win. Um, they're going to figure stuff out. I mean, give it to the
Right.
All-Star break. That's what I would say. Give it to the All-Star break. Doc is a veteran coach. I think he can fix things quickly, but I think you're still going to need some time.
Mm-hmm.
Just fix some stuff, tweak some stuff, figure out what the guys like to run, what fits with this team. And I say give it to the All-Star break, but they're good enough to see this is where it helps you having all this talent. They're good enough to keep afloat. Like
Right.
they're not in eighth or seventh, fighting for a playoff or for the 10th spot. They're in second. I mean, you may have to just settle for a 2 seed. Boston's had those collective groups. Boston has had that team for 4 years now. So they know what they're doing, and they figured it out easily. They put Kristaps in, and then they bring in Drew Holiday. Those are two areas where now they're just running high profile offenses. So you're probably just gonna have to sell for a 2 seed unless Boston starts to skid, or you get really hot. But I say give it to the All Star game. I'm not worried. I'm not gonna be worried. It still is really early in the season, so they'll figure it out. I hope Doc figures it out, but it's just going to be some learning, a little bit more learning now. But they have enough talent. I think they're probably going to end up the 2 or 3 seed. So I don't think they have a chance at the 1. I mean, they do, but Boston would really have to start slipping up or maybe catch an injury bug every now and again. But Boston just looks again solid as ever, as they always
Right.
do. So
No, absolutely.
we'll see. But they got some time. They got time to figure it out. I say give it to the All-Star break. Once the All-Star break happens, guys will, get some rest. That's when you have time to practice with those guys because the NBA you don't practice a lot. You have
Right.
shoot arounds and then you go in game. So sometimes your games are your practices. So give it to the All-Star break, maybe those 3-4 days that they have off. Forget how long actually they have off. Will do well. They can get in the gym and practice a little bit, and then discuss what's going on. And maybe after the All-Star break, they look more of a cohesive unit.
No, absolutely. And then obviously today they play as well. They play at 9:00. Damian Lillard is going home to Portland to face the Trailblazers. And then they face the Mavericks on Saturday. And then Sunday they face the Jazz. They got a freaking crazy set. Like before the All-Star week, they could play some tough teams. And then their home game, they'll face the T-Wolves Thursday. That should probably be on TNT or ESPN. That'll be a primetime game at 7. So.
Yes, sir.
And then with the Brewers, hey, we got spring training camp coming up, February 24th. I know, we're ending.
Catcher's report in 2 weeks, boy.
Hello. So that starts February 24th. All that good stuff. We'll tap in more when that goes ahead and gets into the season. And then just to go ahead and follow up just a couple more things here so we can get you off to this beautiful day. Wisconsin. Number 1 in the Big Ten. Number 1 in the Big Ten. Faced obviously Michigan State. Dog walked them at home. We looked like lost puppies. But they go ahead and face Nebraska tomorrow, and then Sunday's a big one. They face Purdue at home at noon. That'll be a good game. 2 versus 6. If they go ahead and beat them, I think they're definitely going to be fighting for that 1 to 3rd spot, or maybe even be 1, to be honest. And then
they might be. I think so. We'll get into Wisconsin about what it's getting that time, isn't it? It's getting that time. Bracketology type stuff. I think Wisconsin. Nebraska could shoot a little bit, but you just got to keep. I'm sure Greg Gard is probably saying like we can't take anything for granted. We can't look past Nebraska because we got Purdue on Sunday. Like we got to beat Nebraska because if we lose Nebraska, beat Purdue, it's all for nothing. But you're gonna lose games. Like 2 weeks ago they lost against Penn State. At Penn State, you're gonna lose games in college basketball. Nobody is perfect in college basketball. You try to set yourself up for a tournament and win a conference championship to get that auto bid. But the way Wisconsin's playing right now, they're going to be an at-large no matter what. And tell you what, if they beat Purdue, we're looking at a maybe top 3, possibly. I don't think they'll be number 1, but probably 2 or 3 team in the country. And if they beat Purdue, they split a season series with Purdue, and Purdue slips up in the Big Ten tournament, and Wisconsin wins the Big Ten tournament. We're looking at possibly a 1 seed for Wisconsin. Yeah. If they go to the Big Ten or Big Ten championship tournament and they win finals, or they lose in the final, I think we're looking at a 2 seed. But 1 or 2 seed, man, this is their highest ranking. They're 6th. This is the highest ranking in 3 years. And their offensive ratings right now are the highest that they've ever had under Greg Gard. They're averaging 76 points a game while only giving up 66 points a game. And they got thrown 100 or 98 piece thrown on them at Arizona. And then they had 87 against Penn State. So they're only giving up 66 games, but then if you throw out the 98, oh my God, it finally happened. If you throw out the 98 and the 87, we're looking at maybe 62, like only giving up 62, 63 points a game. If you're scoring 76 points a game, I mean, they threw 100 piece up on Jackson State. So, I mean, throw that out, maybe it's a little, but they can score, man. This is like nothing we've seen out of a Wisconsin team since probably Bo Ryan has been there. So, I mean, Greg Gard,
for real.
We've seen some teams, we've seen a little bit more they've always been defensive, but for the past 2-3 years, it's been a struggle for the Wisconsin Badgers to score. Like, I've seen games where they've only scored 41 points. It's atrocious. So
it ain't like that now.
This is
not like that now.
So they found some diamonds of the rough with AJ Storr and that Blackburn kid. They found some athletes. Like it's totally different than what we're usually seeing. Like usually Wisconsin finds their play from their bigs, which they have a really good big. But now you put Chucky Hepburn, who is one of the best guard defenders in the Big Ten, possibly in the country. And then you have some forwards that are athletic. Like, whoa, where do we find those guys? Those guys, again, as I said in past episodes, they look like they should be playing at a blue blood. So, but hey, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun road down the stretch for college basketball, man. I love March Madness. And I think Wisconsin has a serious run where they could potentially be an Elite Eight team. So, but again, in that tournament, man, just like in the NFL playoffs, anything could happen. Cinderella could come looking for her slipper, and she could take you out trying to find that slipper. So, it's going to be fun. And Marquette's ranked number 9 too. They could be another Elite Eight.
I was just about to hop into that. Marquette had won a great one last night. Faced Villanova, tight one, but they won 85-80. They're ranked 9th. How about Wisconsin college basketball right now?
Yeah,
loaded.
Let's go.
Like the state of Wisconsin, just love it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
no, they play Saturday. February 3rd, they face Georgetown. That is in Georgetown, and they got a little break until February 10th. So, what else you got, Jimmer? What's some hot takes about Wisconsin sports, man? Talk to me, man. This is your floor. This is your moment. We are going to give Jimmer a 3-minute hot take of Wisconsin sports.
I think
before we take
so Green Bay. If Green Bay hires Brandon Staley, I'll be very disappointed. Because what I've been seeing, it's not a hot take, but I think if they hire Brandon Staley, it'd be very disappointing because what we've seen before, Brandon Staley is a Vic Fangio disciple. Vic Fangio, nobody runs the Vic Fangio defense. It's kind of like the Bill Belichick disciples. Nobody runs the Vic Fangio defense unless you're Vic Fangio. Nobody can run the Bill Belichick defense unless you're Bill Belichick. Mike Vrabel has proven he's been the closest thing to it, but it's still not quite as dominant as a Bill Belichick defense. So I don't know. Matt LaFleur hired Joe Barry, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hired Brandon Staley. And if he does, we might be looking at another wasting of a really good quarterback. So my hot take is they should hire Zach. I want Orr from Baltimore Ravens. I think Orr he's young. I think he'd gel with the team, and I think he would just be the perfect fit for it. I know he's a coordinator, and I think that would be a gamble, but I think a young team responds to a younger coach. So I think they should go a little younger. And I think Mike Vrabel would be perfect as well because he's kind of got that vibe. He's a little younger himself. He's like in his lower 40s, I think, maybe even his mid 40s, but he's got that energy. He brings energy. I just didn't see that from Joe Barry. So I think Green Bay should go out and hire an energetic coach instead of Joe Barry, who looked a little lethargic. I mean, he looked fiery in the booth up on Sundays, but I don't know if he was that kind of guy in the meeting rooms or on the practice field or anything like that. So, this is a very, very pivotal hire. And my hot take is Matt LaFleur fucks this up, man. I don't know where you go from next. Like,
I don't think he will, though. I think he knows his position. I think he knows his position now, where he's at and how close he was to that. Being able to go ahead and be where he was, like he might have thought, like, oh shit, like we're actually got an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl because you got to start seeing it, right? Like you put the time in, you go ahead and scheme things, you have to see it, and now you're seeing it. It's like, oh shit, like. And I liked, obviously, we talked about the previous episode where he took his time. We're talking about to the media saying, hey, we're going to take our time with this. Well, motherfucker, you better take your time because this hire, like you said, and I'm right with you on this 1,000%. This is a huge stepping stone if the Packers want to be in that Kansas City Chiefs type vibe, where they're
Yeah.
before they
Yeah.
get to play them every year in the Super Bowl, because this realistically it can happen. We could legitimately have a Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes within the 2 times, if not maybe even 3, within this 4 or 5 year span.
You want a hot take? If they hit home run on defensive coordinator and they draft well, if they continue to draft like they did this year, we're looking at becoming what the Chiefs are, which is damn near automatic NFC Championship every single year. Like, you want a hot take? We are
Let's
looking
make it happen.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers did that with dog shit coordinators. Let's get a good coordinator.
Yes.
And if it hits and it hits well, we're looking at becoming the next Kansas City Chiefs, because we don't got to pay any offensive guys for the next 3 years. We don't got to pay any. Well, right now our defense is still under rookie mode for about 2 years. That's only going to get younger, because I think our back end secondary is going to be very young as well. We're looking at hot take. I just said that, but I'm putting a guarantee on this. We'll be in the NFC Championship next year. I'm calling it. If you draft like you do this year and you hit on a D coordinator, Packers NFC Championship next year, and just book it. We might even be a 1 seed.
It's music to my ears. And that's why we love our Wisconsin teams.
Yes, sir. I'm booking it NFC Championship next year, and if we're a 1 seed, man, we're Super Bowl. Because look at majority of the NFC this year. A lot of South teams, a lot of indoor teams, a lot of out West teams. And the Green Bay, I think, was trying to think here. NFC. I think Philadelphia and Green Bay were the only outdoor teams. Tampa Bay, but they outdoor cold weather teams. I think Philadelphia and Green Bay were it's pretty mild out right now, but we know how Wisconsin weather works. You get that one day, oh man, it's like -5 out here. Man, you think the 49ers want to come over here in -5-degree weather? No. Get out of here. It would be like, come on, man, why can't we play this in nice San Francisco with a 60-degree afternoon with a breeze off the bay?
Man.
I mean, they played in rain, but they'd probably rather play in rain than they would rather play in this -5-degree stuff. I mean, it's not -5 right now, but anything could happen. And now we have a younger quarterback that likes the cold. I mean, Aaron Rodgers always liked cold, but when you're 39, that cold slows you down. He looked old and cold. Jordan Love didn't look different at all in cold weather. So
absolutely,
we'll see. But I'm booking it. Hot take. You want a hot take? NFC Championship game next year, because that team's believing right now, and they think they should have won that game, and they probably believe that they could have gone to Detroit again and win. So, and that's a dangerous thing for a young team. So the expectations are back to where they were after 1 year.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Crazy to think about that, but you beautiful people, you guys have a great day. Obviously, you can follow me. We got the music going. You can go ahead and follow me, obviously, on Off the Top Show on all platforms. We are everywhere. Jimmer has his own as well when it comes to his great Twitter handle. Time of our lives. God bless y'all. Have a great day. Jimmer, we'll see you, brother. World, we'll see you.